Hello, I'm Alison Bale of Mind Insight, and thank you for joining me for this latest video where I'm going to be talking about how we can use the mindfulness habit or attitude of beginner's mind to support you in reducing pain. Now, persistent pain comes in many different forms. Sometimes it has a specific name like fibromyalgia or spondylitis. It can affect all different parts of your body, and sometimes it's termed neurogenic, sometimes it's termed non-specific. It can be pretty much constant, or it can come and go, often unpredictably. And like as not, if you're in persistent pain, you've tried a lot of other options already to reduce it, so you might quite reasonably be thinking, how can a solution that targets the mind offer me anything? And yet the links between the mind and the body in pain are clear. Anxiety, for example, often coexists with pain. Emotions and stress activate the same nerve pathways, the same circuits in the brain as physical injury. And when disease and pathology have been ruled out, finding a solution to persistent pain often means looking beyond the tissue damage model. Now, does this mean your pain is all in your head? No, not at all. All pain is real, whatever its origins or cause. Pain's a protective mechanism, and it can be activated by anything that signals danger to you. Mindfulness offers you a chance to look at your pain with curiosity, with kindness, and move up close to it in a way that allows you to better understand how your habits of thinking and feeling are contributing to your experience. When you want to use a skill like beginner's mind to change your experience of pain, it's useful to find different ways to practice the skill in relation to what you experience. And this means trying to have a sense of your pain as if it was the first time you'd ever experienced it. And this is not easy to do because your brain is a predictive processor. What that means is it's used to using your experience, your background, your education, your culture. Everything really that you've ever experienced becomes part of how your brain interprets the world from moment to moment. So it's very hard for us to get into a headspace where we're not thinking we already know what's going on. And there are a few ways you can start to practice beginner's mind in relation to pain, and here are just some suggestions. You might start by just keeping a journal or making a few notes periodically when your pain is particularly bad. And when this happens, see if you can give some thought to what else is going on. Where are you? What are you doing? Who are you with? What are you thinking? See if you can build up a picture for yourself of what the stresses are for you and what creates a sense of danger or discomfort or anxiety for you. It's also possible to actually bring curiosity to the experience itself, and one way to do this is you see, what we tend to do with pain is we want it to go away, we want to resist it. So what happens if you do the opposite? Turn towards it, get up close, and start to have a look at it as though it were an object. So you might ask yourself, what colour is it? What shape is it? Is it still or is it moving? Is it shallow or deep? And it really doesn't matter what questions you ask. Again, it's just about familiarisation with getting a bit closer to the pain, with turning towards it, with this quality of curiosity. Another thing you could try is just taking time to scan your body periodically and noticing not just what hurts but what doesn't. And noticing any particular areas of tightness or holding, and seeing if you can just start to breathe into those areas. What would happen if you let go of some of that tightness, let go of some of that holding? What would happen if you brought some softening rather than some constricting? Because constrict is what we tend to do when we have pain. So what would happen if you brought some openness, some expansion to the experience? You could also try a bit of visualization. See if you can imagine a situation where you normally get pain, and imagine it in as much detail as you possibly can. And just notice when you're visualizing, does that change your pain? Most often it will. And that just shows you the role of the mind in what we feel, what we experience, what we perceive. And obviously this is something this last one, you only want to do as much as you feel comfortable with. The moment it feels too much, you're in control. You just back away, you pull away, because you don't want the sensations being too intense. Most people, even thinking about using mindfulness for pain, are already in a way engaging with beginner's mind, because you've usually tried lots of other therapies and approaches, so you are at the very least being open to new possibilities. What I'm going to share with you now is 5 ways you can just dip your toe in the water of practicing, developing that sense of curiosity and that openness to the new. So, first thing I invite you to have a go at is becoming a tourist in your own town. Take more time to observe the journeys you make, whether you're walking or driving, and give those journeys your full and undivided attention. And see if you can just take in your whole environment as if it wasn't familiar to you, as if you were seeing it for the first time. Another thing you could experiment with is to decide to do something new, to do something you haven't done before. And before you even start, make a few notes about what you're thinking. Are you already assuming that you won't be good at it, or maybe you won't even enjoy it? And just see if you can follow the process through as you start the new activity, being aware of what you're thinking. Taking time to inquire after your thoughts and to reflect afterwards on what surprised you, what was different to what you were expecting. And how about if you notice yourself thinking something and you decide to think the opposite? What changes? You can run a similar experiment just by choosing something you do normally do and you are familiar with, but doing it in a different way. Try brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand. Try getting dressed and being really aware of which arm you put in your shirt or your t-shirt first, and do the opposite. Which shoe do you put on first? Do the opposite. Ring the changes around how you do things that you're doing every day anyway, and see how giving those activities more attention and doing them in a different way changes the experience for you. You can also experiment with giving your full and undivided attention to someone close to you, listening to them without judging, without trying to fix or problem solve, and without interrupting. Make it your goal simply to hear the other person's point of view. The closer you are to somebody, the more likely it is you're going to have a set of beliefs and expectations, and you've already made up your mind about how they'll be and what they'll say. See if you can suspend that judgment and maybe allow the person to surprise you. And a fifth way you can work with beginner's mind is to feed your sense of awe. I don't know what it is for you. For me, it's mountains, rivers, nature, music too. For you, it might be literature. It might be science. It doesn't matter what it is. Things to be grateful for. Things that make you smile. They're all around you. And it's a good habit to build a practice of noticing them. And just giving thanks every day for the small things, however small, that make you smile. Being open to new possibilities isn't always very comfortable, so be patient with yourself. Unfortunately, when it comes to working with persistent pain, there are no quick fixes, there are no magic ones. But the more you can bring this sense of being a beginner and this sense of curiosity to your experience, you're going to have more options, and you're going to have a much better idea of what you need to bring a sense of safety and reduce the sense of danger for you.